Okay, before we talk about the next two problems, I want to talk about some of these properties, these number properties. So we have the commutative property, the associative property, and the distributive property. These are very common properties. The commutative property, and by the way, it says right up here, but these only work when adding and multiplying. And this makes sense because, like, if you add 3 plus 7, that's the same as 7 plus 3. And this is an example of the commutative property, which moves the numbers around. So see how the 3 and the 7 switch spots? That's what the commutative property tells us is okay to do. The associative property usually has 3 or more terms, and the numbers don't move, but the parentheses do. So you might have something like this. It says 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 2 plus 3 plus 4. So the numbers are in the same order, but the parentheses groups two different numbers together to say which ones to do first. We can see that these are the same. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 4 is 9. If we do it this way first, 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So the associative property tells us that if you're only adding or only multiplying, that you can, it doesn't matter which numbers you group together to add or multiply first. The last one is the distributive property, which comes in a lot, and it will come in a lot later too with our factoring assignments and things like that. But the distributive property is a way to write an equivalent expression where every term inside a parentheses is multiplied by the term outside the parentheses. And what this does is it makes the parentheses go away. You'll notice that let me just do this, 2 times, let's say, 2 times 3, and inside parentheses will either be a plus or a minus sign. But 2 times 3 plus 4 equals, and what you'll do here is you'll do 2 times 3. This sign right here stays the same, so plus, and then 2 times 4. So the parentheses go away, and this expression right here is a little bit longer than this expression was. But this is what the distributive property does, multiplies every term inside the parentheses by the number outside the parentheses. So you had two problems like this that talked about these types of things that were incorrect. The first one was number 9. And number 9 gave the expression 5a plus 7b, and it wanted you to use the commutative property. Remember, the commutative property moves the numbers around. It says it doesn't matter what order we add in. And so for this to be the commutative property, we would just swap the order that we're adding, and we would say 7b plus 5a. The other problem that dealt with the properties that was missed was number 20. And number 20, that doesn't look quite right. There we go, number 20. And number 20 looked like this. 1 times r plus 6 equals 1 times r plus 1 times 6 equals r plus 6. And you can see here that we're starting with parentheses with something being added or subtracted in the middle, just like we did right here. And if we go to the next step in our problem, we have done 1 times r, and we have done 1 times 6, and we've added it together. Then this last part is just simplifying it. 1 times r is just r, and 1 times 6 is just 6. But we have used the distributive property here to rewrite our equation. And so that is an example of the distributive property.